All right, if you're a Bitcoin bull, I've got great news for you. If you're a Bitcoin bull though, because Bitcoin bounced perfectly off this 200-week moving average. Now, if you were a bull, that is exactly the bounce you were looking for. You said, we're going to have a correction. We're going to have the correction that goes all the way down to the 200-week moving average, which is the most important indicator in Bitcoin trends. It's the longest term indicator that we see in Bitcoin trends. And then we bounce. Now, if you still wanted confirmation of that, then what you would do is you would wait for this candle over here. You would wait for this candle over here to get back into this trend line. And then you would invalidate this whole head and shoulders theory that we thought may be playing out. And then we're going forward into a bull market. At the same time, the confirmation that we had was we had the Bitcoin dominance going down as Bitcoin was going up. Now, what that means is that people aren't scared, because when people are scared, what they do is they go into Bitcoin. They go into the safe haven asset. What we saw was slightly different. We saw two things that showed us that we could get into a very bullish pattern again, and that this correction actually may be over. Actually, three things which was the first thing we saw is we saw this bounce off the 200-week moving average. The second thing we saw is we saw the Bitcoin dominance going down when Bitcoin was going down. And now we want to see if Bitcoin breaks above that 48.2 level. The next thing that we see is that the meme coins are back. And if the meme coins are back, it means that the froth is back in the market. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I've got great news for you if you're trading those coins. Specifically, if you're looking at altcoins, and remember, we are looking at the Banter bubbles here. So what you can see when it comes to Banter bubbles is that there are certain narratives that are moving. So you've got, for example, Conflux, which is the Chinese narrative moving again. And if you click on the Banter bubble, and you can see why exactly it's moving. Miles says it's because Hong Kong. I came in here and I said because China is back. And so you see these chats are starting to develop in the big bubbles. The other one that you see is going up is 𝗬𝗍, up 7.7%. And if you look into the Banter bubbles, you can see that what is happening here is that we're getting Asian volume coming into 𝗬𝗍 again. So we're going to be talking about all these altcoin narratives that are pumping. We're going to be talking about one by one. So Conflux, 𝗬𝗍. Let's talk about Litecoin and why Litecoin's pumping. Let's see if there's any chatter in the Banter bubbles here. Okay, not much chatter there yet, but there will be. And then Lido's pumping. So let's take a look at why it is that actually Lido's pumping if it's not already in the Banter bubble. You can see there is a lot of stuff that's happening here in the Banter bubble. So we're going to talk about that. So just quickly to go through it, we're going to be talking about Lido and Rocket Pool, why they're going up. We're going to be talking about Conflux and why it's going up. We're going to be talking about Litecoin and why it's going up. We're going to be talking about 𝗬𝗍 and why 𝗬𝗍 is going up. And then I'm going to show you a whole lot of other Asian coins that I think are going to be going up. So listen, get out of bed. Let's do this. The song is coming to an end soon. As soon as you guys bring us a new song, we're going to talk about the new song in a couple of seconds. Let's do this, guys. Let's do this.
Get the fuck out of bed, bitch. Go. Get up, and then they got go. Gotta wake up, bitch. Get up. Get up. Get up.
All right, wakey, rise and shine. I'm here in Miami. I'm going to fix my lighting here. So my lighting is not perfect here, and I will fix it tomorrow. I just needed to get a show done for you guys today, which is why I was slightly late. But here I am. I'm going to bring you Crypto Lab, and I'm bringing you crypto wisdom from Miami. We're here for the Bitcoin conference, one of the big Bitcoin 2023 conference. And I know a lot of you guys are going to be joining us. By the way, if you are joining us, there's a link to a party below, which is our official party in conjunction with Life. If you want to attend that party, just click the link below, get yourself a VIP complimentary ticket, no payment. We're paying for you guys because you guys are the best fam in the whole wide world. Also going to be very interesting to see what happens this week with the Bitcoin price, because we've gone to the Bitcoin, all the other BTC conference dates. Last conference, or not last conference, 2022, 7.37% down. June 4th, 9.45% down. Obviously, June 2020 it was cancelled, and before that, up 17.55%. So let's see actually what happens this week with the Bitcoin conference, whether we get the Bitcoin pump or the Bitcoin dump. Let me know what you think below. Also, let me know what you think below if we should keep the song or drop the song. Josh, let's do a little poll. Let's see if we should keep the song or we should drop the song. Alrighty, let's get into the alpha that is today. Remember, if you're new to the channel, subscribe. We are exploding in subscribers. We are exploding. I'm so happy with the number of subscribers. Also, if you have been here for a while, just like this content, help us get everything out there. And if you haven't checked out our Banter bubbles, go and check out our Banter bubbles. I did tell you we're going to launch our very own version of crypto bubbles. We did. There are a whole lot of new features that we built in here. For example, if you want to see why, because it's all great that you see a token's going up and going down, but you want to know why it's going up and you want to know why it's going down. So what you do, you just click on the bubble. There's a chat. You can actually chat, talk about why it's going up or down. We're going to start building these communities around bubbles, and eventually, probably by the end of next week, you're going to be able to trade around these bubbles. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's at banterbubbles.com. Help us help you. The more you guys talk about what's wrong. And also what we've done is we've actually integrated it into Twitter. So you can see that my Twitter profile is exactly who I am here, and it'll help you guys build some clout on Twitter. So if you comment here, we can always check you guys out on Twitter, and we can actually follow you on Twitter just by clicking you guys over here. So go and check it out. Also, the more you contribute, the better it's going to be. We've got a big show today. We've got to talk about a whole lot of things. The first thing is this Bitcoin pump. If you are a Bitcoin bull, you have been vindicated because you bounced exactly off the 200-week moving average, and that is like the ultimate benchmark. And one of our guys here at the studio or at the office said to me yesterday, he said, if you're a bull and we bounce off that 200-week moving average, that is the ultimate confirmation that we're in an uptrend, and you cannot deny that anymore. And we bounced exactly off the 200-week moving average. Now, if you're still a skeptic, what you're going to say is okay, well, let's just close above this neckline. That way, the whole head and shoulders thesis becomes invalidated. And if the head and shoulders thesis becomes invalidated, then maybe we're just going back into an uptrend. And then maybe you just have to respect the pump. You can't not respect the pump. We do have some pricklies this weekend or this week that we have to worry about. We have the Fed out in full force. Okay, so we actually have 14 Fed speakers all coming out this week to talk. And the big question is whether or not they're going to be talking about enough interest rate hikes or whether they're going to continue increasing interest rates. Okay, so one narrative is, I think we've increased enough and we can continue, we should continue to monitor the situation. But there is another narrative that could come out of this. And the other narrative that could come out of this is they're going to say, well, we'll wait for the data. We're not really sure. So keep your eyes open on what the Fed is doing this week. Right now, as it stands, there's an 80% chance of no interest rate increase and a 20% chance of an interest rate increase. Now, remember when Powell was allegedly interviewed by the hoax, that where they thought that he was speaking, where he thought he was speaking to Zelensky, he said we could see another 2 more interest rate hikes. So let's see what's happening there. At the same time, while the Fed is increasing interest rates and trying to get liquidity out the market, they're not actually really succeeding. So if you look at the actual numbers here, you can see that $95 billion has been injected by the US Treasury since April 26th into the market. So even though they're trying to get liquidity out the market, they're actually putting more liquidity in the market, and net there's $100 billion more in the market. Okay, so that's where we're at today. And at the same time, you've got Janet Yellen coming out and talking about this the president's use of the 14th Amendment to increase the debt ceiling. So I've said to you before, I think that this debt ceiling is a big nothing burger. I think they're all going to negotiate at the last minute because that's exactly what they always do. But Janet Yellen is still on her PR and marketing campaign. And this time she's saying, look, you know, the president can invoke what they call the 14th Amendment, But she says it would be legally questionable if it did that. So just listen to what she says.
The idea there that was discussed is that possibly that amendment would justify just issuing debt sufficient to pay all the government's bills and ignore the debt ceiling. And what President Biden said in his remarks is it's really not, there would clearly be litigation around that. It's not a short-run solution. And what I would say, it's legally questionable whether or not that's a viable strategy.
So remember, when people talk about this increase in the debt ceiling, you guys relax. It is going to get resolved. It always gets resolved. If it doesn't get resolved, you guys can meme this video again like you meme all the other videos. But you need to understand that this is a tactic between the Democrats and the Republicans to negotiate until the last minute to make the other party look more stupid, more dumb, etc., etc. Remember, though, that we're about to enter an election cycle. And when we enter an election cycle, we're not going to pass any legislation that's going to upset anyone. So we've got to kind of survive until Labor Day. If we survive until Labor Day, chances are after Labor Day, we're not going to get any meaningful legislation to piss off anyone, specifically not cryptocurrency holders, because they do make up 1 in 4 households in the United States. So not too worried about the macro situation. While the US is bickering about interest rates, there are other markets which are actually at all-time highs. If you look at the rest of the world and you kind of ignore the United States, you can see the DAX is at an all-time high. You can see the French market is at an all-time high, or just about at an all-time high. You can see the Nikkei, which is the Japanese market, all-time high. Well, this is the FTSE, also all-time high. The Nikkei is at an all-time high. So you can kind of see that the rest of the world is business as usual, and we're getting into an all-time high. Whereas in the US, they're negotiating about interest rates and they're negotiating about the debt ceiling, and that's why their market isn't very much towards an all-time high. Anyway, let's forget about that, and let's talk about crypto, and let's talk about specifically altcoins, because I do want to talk about a lot of altcoins today. We're going to talk about tons and tons and tons of altcoins. So let's talk about the altcoins. The first altcoin that I need to talk to you guys about is one where we thought that we could have a slight risk in the market. Remember, before ETH staking opened, we said one of the big risks into the market is, will those staked ETH, when you were able to start unlocking your ETH, will those staked ETH actually hit the market? And if they do hit the market, are they going to cause the market to decline? We said there were two types of, we call them cataclysmic potential events. One was Mt. Gox, the other one was ETH staking. Those were the two crypto economic indicators that could get the whole market down. And we cited those as like real significant risks. So I got good news for you around the first one. The first one obviously being ETH staking. And one of our biggest concerns was that there were $30 billion worth of staked ETH. And if people could all of a sudden withdraw those $30 billion, that could bring a lot of ETH into the market. Now, the flip side of that was we said, hold on a second. What if people, because you can stake and withdraw your ETH now without having them locked up, what if that actually brought more people into ETH? That was the two things we were playing with. Now, this could be very, very, very good for ETH. What I'm about to show you now could create a huge ETH narrative. And if we get a huge ETH narrative, we could get a huge liquid staking derivative narrative. Also, remember, ETH is a proxy for altcoins. And so we could get a massive altcoin narrative as well. So let's follow the logic here. Let me show you the numbers, because it's all about numbers. And if my numbers are absolutely, absolutely right here, and I'll show you what the numbers are, then we could be getting the ETH BTC chart going up, the dominance going down, and maybe the beginning of some kind of altcoin season, maybe. But first of all, just to make sure we all understand where we are, let's actually look at the numbers. So the first thing that we have to look at is what happened to ETH staking after the merge. Because remember, we were worried that after the merge, we would have ETH staking drop a lot. And actually, yes, if you look here in the corner of the chart, it actually did. Let me try and make this chart a little bit bigger. I'm on very small screens here, so it's very difficult to do anything. But let's see if I can get it. No, it's not going to work. Okay. Hold on. Let's try and reduce that. Okay, so I don't think that's going to work. Hold on a second. Let's switch that off. Okay, so let's look at ETH staking, and let's quickly look at where we're at when it comes to ETH staking. So you can see, let me even make it a bit bigger. What you can see is that initially, when we implemented ETH withdrawals, what happened was people actually started to withdraw ETH. And we had this little dip here in the ETH withdrawals. But then what you can see is that ever since the first dump of people who could withdraw the ETH, now all of a sudden you're getting into a position where the number of ETH staked is actually increasing and increasing very, very fast. And in fact, we're now getting to levels where more ETH is staked now than there was staked when before this the ability to withdraw. So you can see that right now, as it stands, there are actually queues. If you want to stake your ETH, you have to wait in a queue for 7 weeks, and that queue is growing. So if you want to stake ETH now, because there's so much demand to actually be staking ETH, you have to wait in a line for 7 weeks, and that line just keeps growing and growing and growing. Okay, so why is that the case? Well, for one, we did say that we think that when people can withdraw and stake their ETH, it would give fund managers, people with a much higher risk profile, who didn't want to stake in liquid staking derivatives and who couldn't be illiquid, it could actually give them more incentive to go and stake. That seems to be the case. So what's happening now is you can see that these people are now saying, hold on a second, I'm getting about 8% reward for staking my ETH. And if I can get 8% reward for staking my ETH, and at the same time, I'm holding a deflationary asset, because remember, when you're holding ETH, you're holding a deflationary asset because of EIP 1559, which continues the burn, basically. So which makes ETH deflationary. So you've got ETH deflationary. At the same time, you have ETH yielding about 8% in validator rewards, or 8 or even 9% in validator rewards. Okay, so now what that says is, hold on a second, there's a lot more people who actually want to stake ETH than withdraw ETH. We did see, in the beginning, a withdrawal of a lot of ETH. Okay, but who were these people that were withdrawing? Well, the first one that was withdrawing is Kraken. Because remember, Kraken settled with the SEC, and as a result of their settlement with the SEC, what they had to do was they had to stop staking ETH. Basically, they had to close down the ETH staking service in the United States. That's what they did. And you can see, so they were one of the first people to actually withdraw their ETH. Then there was a whole lot of concern around a whole lot of people worried about Coinbase. Okay, so a lot of people worried about Coinbase. And then they also started to withdraw their ETH. And they started to put their ETH in all the liquid staking decentralized protocols. Things like Lido, things like Rocket Pool, things like Frax, and a whole lot of others, which we're going to talk about in a second. But what you can see is that these guys are the custodians of this dip. So look at Lido. Lido has an 11.71% increase in staked ETH. Rocket Pool has a 38% increase in staked ETH. Frax has a 39% increase in staked ETH. Stakewise, up 3%. Who's down? Anchor is down. Coinbase is obviously down. Kraken obviously down. But what you can see is that all these liquid staking protocols are now growing because the demand to stake ETH is huge. So how big is this opportunity? How big is this opportunity, and what does it do? The first thing is I'm expecting it to get a whole lot of people to start buying more ETH. And so I think that if we look at the ETH BTC chart, which I'm going to get up here first, ETH BTC. So this is the ETH BTC chart. I'm expecting, and I may be wrong, but I'm expecting this chart to actually start trending up. So I'm expecting this chart to actually start trending up. The next thing that I'm expecting is I'm expecting the liquid staking protocols to actually start going up. And you started to see this pattern today. So look at Lido, look at Rocket Pool. Both of those guys, liquid staking protocols, one of the biggest bubbles in the bubbles. Why? Look at this. Lido, Rocket Pool, and Frax. Why? Because you can earn 8% earning ETH on yield, with yield, and because there's now a 7-week waiting list if you want to be staking your ETH. So I think that this narrative is about to explode. And I think that we have another catalyst today. And the other catalyst today is that Lido, which is the biggest ETH staking validator, let me just show you how big it is by market share. That's how big it is by market share, 75% by market share, actually passed a resolution which is going to allow people to withdraw their staked ETH. And so that's why Lido is actually starting to pump, because people are saying, great, with Lido, you can actually stake, you can withdraw. I want to be part of Lido. The other one that is increasing is Frax. I looked at all the health measurements from Frax. It is absolutely, absolutely firing. To be honest, I think that if you look at Frax, and I think if it's around under $8, so let's just see where it is, at $7.15. I think my entry point on Frax was around $8. I may actually start topping up some of my position on Frax. So those are the ones that I would be looking at. There is another one that I'm looking at on Cosmos. I will update you guys about it tomorrow. I just want to make sure that I've done all the research and that the narrative is actually as strong as I think. But otherwise, what you can see is that the TVL goes up, and with the TVL, the price goes up, which makes a lot of sense. The other thing which you kind of want to do is, if you're looking at these things, is not make it the be all and end all, but on this chart here, you kind of want to look at the market cap to TVL. So how big is the protocol relative to how much money does the protocol have tied up? And what you want to look for is you want to look for market caps where the market cap over TVL is quite high. And if it is, that might be a good indicator for you to actually start looking to buy these things. So that's the first narrative, which I think is super bullish for altcoins. Okay, the next narrative, which I think is super, super, super bullish for altcoins is, there's another part of this. We were also worried that Celsius, because remember, Celsius own a whole lot of staked ETH, right? Because they took the ETH and they staked the ETH. And with Lido deposits actually starting to open, we were worried that people would start unstaking their Celsius, that Celsius would start unstaking their staked ETH. But actually what we can see is that Celsius is actually depositing in more ETH to earn more yield. So that risk is also out the way now. So those risks are out the way. Good narrative for ETH, good narrative for the liquid staking derivatives. Very, very, very good narrative for the liquid staking derivatives. Other big narrative which we have to keep our eyes open for this week is China, China, China. And again, everything is in the bubbles. So if you look at banterbubbles.com, check it out. You can see that it's giving you all the clues. What are the tokens that are moving? Look at Conflux moving. Look at Sui moving. But if you click on these, you can kind of see exactly why. It's all actually in the chat. So why China is coming back. There's the pre-Hong Kong announcement which is coming up. If you look at Sui as well, you will see that Sui is also pumping. Why? Because look here, because volume is coming from Asia. Now let's look at what's actually going on with China and what we can expect here. The first thing is, remember, on the 1st of June, which is just a couple of days away, we've got the Hong Kong opening up crypto investment to retail investors. Huge. That's part of this narrative that Asia is coming back into the game. At the same time, we've got China state-backed firms launching 2 crypto funds in Hong Kong. So you can see that Hong Kong is becoming the playing ground, which is actually being funded by China. So this is not the end of it. There's a lot more that I'm going to show you here around this China-based narrative, because you can't sleep on this. Because while the US is fighting the war against crypto, Asia is actually not. And remember that crypto is about global liquidity. It's not actually about liquidity in one country. It's about global liquidity. So you want to make sure that you're covering global movement, so to speak. So China opening up in Hong Kong, lots of money coming from China to Hong Kong because they can't really trade that in China. Also, I saw this, China's National Blockchain Research Center aims to train 500,000 blockchain developers. So they're still training developers. And then lastly, what I saw here is that if you look at the hash power, the Chinese miners are actually starting to come back online. So remember, all the Chinese miners had to stop mining Bitcoin in China because that became illegal. But if you look at where we are now, the Chinese hash power, which is this yellow hash power, is actually starting to come back online and actually starting to increase. So whereas the US is fighting the crypto war, China is actually going, hold on a second, no. We're actually going to continue to push in this crypto narrative. And if that happens, there's 2 things that you need to do. The first thing is you need to follow this watch list. There is a watch list that Joe, the Irishman, our researcher, has created. You can see it over here. And it shows you all the ones that usually pump. So ACH, ASTR, Conflux, and you can kind of see the movements in all of these China tokens. That's the first thing that you need to watch. The second thing that you need to do is you need to follow the right people on Twitter. And so there is this Asia China Crypto Alpha. You can follow it. I think it was created by Joe the Irishman as well. So you can go and see all these, just follow all these accounts. Now, a lot of these tweets are in Chinese, but you can often see like narratives here. You can see like here, they're talking about Litecoin. You can kind of see that that's what it is. So start watching all these Chinese narrative tokens, because I think there's a lot of alpha that lies in these Chinese narrative tokens. And it's not actually only China. It's not actually only China. It's China plus Asia. Okay, so it's China plus Asia. Remember, it's China is just a proxy for the region, but it's also Asia. And I am seeing a pattern which I've seen before in Asia, which is about to pump a certain token, which I think you need to pay attention to. So let me show you what the token is. Remember, I told you guys before, I said there is a formula. If you want to make money on these Asian tokens, there's a formula. And the formula is a very simple formula. You take high FDV, low circulation tokens, you wait for the 𝗵𝗏𝗃 Korea listing, you monitor the volume daily, and you look for the volume spike. And as soon as that volume spike happens, you know that that's your chance to get in, because once 𝗵𝗏𝗃 start pumping a token, then the pump is you can't fade that pump. So the same thing happened with Arbitrum. It happened with all of them, but specifically we were following this one specifically on Arbitrum. There was a 30% pump when Asia discovered Arbitrum and when they started to trade Arbitrum. So I'm seeing that same pattern again. Okay, so I'm seeing that same pattern again, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some of this token to my position in the ByBit competition. So I'll show you why. Right now, if you look at the ByBit competition, by the way, I'm not in the USA. I'm actually in Lisbon today, according to my VPN. So I am actually here and trading. So right now in the competition, I'm coming 40th. I was coming 20th earlier today, but I think one of my tokens actually gone down. I'm going to take another position right here on the show. I'm going to show you what the position is. The position is going to be 𝗬𝗍. I don't really like 𝗬𝗍 from a fundamental point of view at all. I don't like it. I think that the fact that they didn't do an airdrop was a massive mistake. I think that as a result, they don't have an active community. They don't have a lot of active wallets. I think they made a massive, massive, massive mistake. But I can't fade the Asian pump. I cannot fade the Asian pump. And this Asian pump is very similar to all the other Asian pumps. So this is what I I went to the 𝗬𝗍's price. First of all, what I did was I saw it going up in the bubbles. This is how my thought process went. Came to the bubbles, looked at all the bubbles to see what narratives were moving today. The narratives that were moving today was liquid staking protocols, Chinese tokens, and 𝗬𝗍. So I was like, hold on, why is 𝗬𝗍 moving? And then I went and did my investigation into 𝗬𝗍. And what I saw when it came to 𝗬𝗍 was I noticed that there was an uptick in volume from Korea, specifically 𝗵𝗏𝗃 volume. So you can see what I did here was I sorted it by 24-hour volume. And you can see that the biggest volume today, the biggest trade today was actually on 𝗵𝗏𝗃. Okay, so I wanted to verify that. So I went to the 𝗵𝗏𝗃 exchange information, and I realized that today on 𝗵𝗏𝗃, the biggest traded token was actually 𝗬𝗍. Much more than Bitcoin, people were actually trading 𝗬𝗍. Okay, so that for me says, keep your eye on this token, because if these Asian degens get hold of 𝗬𝗍, regardless of the fundamentals, and the fundamentals are shit. I've told you this a million times. One is, you can see here, someone agrees with me. So Paddy the Pirate, he agrees with me. He says 𝗬𝗍 is currently catching a decent Asian bid. Volume is up almost 2x on BTC. Meanwhile, the daily active users on chain are actually very low. So daily active users on chain, 𝗬𝗍 has very bad daily active users on chain. Why? Because they didn't do an airdrop. So no one has their token. So no one actually gives a shit about 𝗬𝗍, right? Whereas if they would have done a token, then the value of then a lot of people would have their token. A lot of people would be trading their tokens. But the idiots, I did say this in the beginning, they didn't do an airdrop. You don't do an airdrop, crypto is going to punish you, because remember, crypto takes no prisoners, right? We basically said, hold on a second. You're coming into crypto ex-Facebook. You're already not really welcome here. Like, you don't have a community, you're ex-Facebook. And now you're not doing an airdrop, which means that no one's actually really interested in your token, because I don't know about you, but I don't give a shit about 𝗬𝗍. I don't own any tokens. Do you own any 𝗬𝗍 tokens? You don't really give a shit. So now I'm seeing two bid two bits of good news. The first bit of good news is that on Polymarket, which is a betting market, all of a sudden there's a 64% chance, 64 cents outcome that 𝗬𝗍 actually may go and do an airdrop to try and build a community retroactively. Now, if that happens, that's going to drive up the price of 𝗬𝗍. But then on top of that, we also have the Korean pump. Okay, so we have the Korean pump. I've showed you that the biggest traded token on Upbit today was 𝗬𝗍, and that you have Upbit, you have 𝗬𝗍 being traded on Upbit. So what do we do in a situation like this? For one, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a small, very, very, very small, if I've still got money in this account. I don't know if I've got money in this account. Let's quickly just see if we can take a position here. I think I have to refresh my screen. Let's see if I can quickly refresh my screen. Quickly take a small position in the trading competition here. Here we go. Okay, so let's look for 𝗬𝗍 perpetual. I'm not telling you to do the same thing. I'm just telling you what I'm doing in the competition. Okay, 121 up, 5%. I'm going to go very, very, very small here. Why? Because I'm not 100% convinced about this. I'm going to take a $1,000 position. Actually, let me take a $2,000 position because I'm a degen. Let's take a degen position of $2,000, and the value. Okay, so I'm going to go long at 121. I'm going to go long at market, and I'm going to start buying that. Why? Because I'm watching this Asian pump, and I'm saying if history repeats, then it's quite an easy formula here. Yep. I just want to remind you of what that formula is, just so that we all, at the same place in class, right? We all. So it's really simple. Find high, fully diluted valuation, low circulation tokens. Is 𝗬𝗍 a high, fully diluted valuation, low circulation tokens? Well, 83.82% of their tokens are locked. This is the tokenomics. So yes, there's very, very, very few tokens in circulation. So it meets the first part of my narrative. Amazing, cool. Now let's go to the next part of it. Okay, the next part of the lesson says, wait for the Upbit Korea listing. Is it listed on Upbit Korea? Absolutely, great. Next thing, monitor the volume daily, as we have been monitoring the volume daily for you. And today, congratulations, we finally saw the volume spike. And if we finally saw the volume spike, you know what that means? That means that you've got to dip your toes in the water. So I think I did dip my toes in the water. I did. I'm $2 down. I'm $2 down on dipping my toes in the water. Doesn't matter, because I'm still, look, I'm not really a trader, and I'm an investor. And here I am coming 41st in the competition. I was coming in the top 15. And I mean, you can still enter the competition if you want. There's a link below. We're taking another 161 people. So when we get to 2,000 people, that's it. It maxes out, and then no more people to win the Tesla. $10,000 in cash. There's a link below. Just join, guys. Put $250 in your account. If you put $250 into your account, you get $50 for free if you're a new sign up, regardless of whether you trade or not. It's like a no-brainer. Anyway, you have my theory here. Let's see if it plays out. I have taken a very, very, very small position. That's it. Yeah, a very small position. Let's talk about meme coins, because I think meme coins is another topic that we need to discuss here. We did have PEPE stage a remarkable comeback. By the way, we're going to talk about PulseChain. We're going to talk about Litecoin. So stick around. There's quite a lot to talk about today. So we did have PEPE come back. And actually, a lot of people say that PEPE came back because Elon tweeted about PEPE. So this was the Elon tweet about PEPE. But it actually wasn't the case, because I was actually trading PEPE before that. And I can tell you that the tweet from Elon only came after the PEPE price spike. So PEPE was already at about 18. I'm going to say 0.00018, but you know what I mean. PEPE was already at 18. And what did it do? It jumped up like 19 or whatever else, because these meme coins are starting to come back. Now, I think I know what's going on with the meme coins. And I think I've found the ultimate explanation of the human psyche as to why these meme coins actually work. And I want to read this to you, because what's going on with meme coins is crazy. And we're going to talk about that in a second, but I really want to read this to you, right? This guy summarized it pretty well, right? He said, the only stat you need to understand why meme coins aren't going away is that we spend $100 billion on lottery tickets every year, and people's chances of winning are 1 in 300 million. That is exactly the mentality of the meme coin. Because what meme coins does is it takes us back to our animal instincts, right? Like our very, 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 very primitive first principles animal instinct, right? And I want to show you what a popular wildlife commentator, which you all know, has to say about the behavior of the meme coin degens. Okay, you say, I mean, you know this, right? You know David Attenborough. You know who he is. He's he was who he is. He was. I don't know.
Welcome to the world of meme coin trading, a hobby, if you can call it that, where the main objective is to not get rugged. Here, fortunes are won and lost in an instant. Will it be pot noodle tomorrow or a lobster dinner? All part of the thrill for these complete morons. While most traders spend their time on centralized exchanges, the real degenerates are found on Uniswap, a decentralized exchange where anyone can list any old shite. If you want to make real money, you need to be early, really early. And these clowns know it. That's why they're glued to their screens, searching through the depths of Telegram and shitcoin Twitter. On hand with their grandmother's savings, ready to strike at the first not too shit-looking project they see. $200 buy-in with $50 for gas. The future of finance, indeed. On this particular day, Elon Musk has just tweeted about having waffles for breakfast. And so it begins. Waffles, waffles Inu, waffles AI, waffle Doge, 𝗕𝗏𝗕𝗶𝗵, Harry Waffles, Obama Sonic Inu. All launched within the first 10 minutes. Panic for shitcoiners, which token will be the one to make it and which ones are the rugs. Unfortunately, the worst has happened. Even though many of the projects weren't honeypots or rugs, Elon has tweeted again. This time about his new pet snail. Every meme coin trader knows that Elon's tweets about his pets trump any generic breakfast tweet. As the liquidity floods out of Waffles-associated coins, our early buyers are left with nothing. $250 down, and it's not even lunch. Not a terrible start to the day for a shitcoiner.
I mean, I think that is absolutely... I loved it. I loved it. So we're going back to our animal primitive instincts, but I guess meme coins are here and they're here to stay. I see that BitBoy is now on this mission to build his Ben token. Now, from what I understand, he met the owner of Ben.eth, and he now took over the project from the guy called Ben.eth. And now what Ben.eth has done is Ben.eth went and created another project. Okay, so I mean, just get the irony here. A guy creates a meme coin, which is a coin that literally has no use case other than has a name and is a community with the name Ben. BitBoy then says, hey, hold on a second. My name's also Ben. I should be involved in this. So he goes and he somehow takes over the project, and then they're finalizing some kind of terms. Now, BitBoy is now out and about telling people that this is his vision for the coin. Let me quickly just get there.
Hello, welcome to BitBoy Crypto. My name is Ben. Tonight we're going to be doing a
blah, blah, blah.
When I tell myself it's a terrible joke, you know it's really bad. So there's so much to cover. I'm going to try to do this briefly. I'm going to try to do this as short as possible and just keep it concise and compact. So basically, if you don't know what happened, there was a coin called Bencoin. And Bencoin was founded by a guy, Ben.eth. Had nothing to do with the sale, had nothing to do with the creation of the coin. I didn't even know there was a sale. There's a place on Twitter where I said there was no sale. I was wrong. There was. I didn't even know. And, you know, basically, it's been a long series of events. If you haven't,
and yes, he's taking the project over. He's making it into a decentralized news organization. At the same time, the guy Ben.eth, the other guy, the guy that actually created the token, he went and launched another token called 𝗖𝗍, and he went and raised another $7 million 𝗖𝗍, and he went and raised another $7 million because people said, hold on a second, if BitBoy took over the last project, well, this project is almost guaranteed to succeed. And he launched the second one, and he literally raised another $7 million. Someone said, Literally can't make the stuff up. A random dude with no experience in anything hires a dev to create a token called Ben, earns thousands, maybe millions of profits, moves on from the token and hosts a pre-sale for another one, and he receives $7 million. It's just, we are going back to our animal instincts. And I think the other one that you've got to be very, very, very careful of, very, very, very careful, is you've got to be careful of this Mong coin. And again, with all due respect to what Mong has built and the market cap that Mong has got, when I see shit like this, and the problem is that a lot of people are not very experienced in this game. Because personally, I don't see much point in holding Bitcoin anymore. When the normies are faced with a choice between buying Bitcoin or Mong, they're going to choose Mong 100% of the time. That's what we're doing in Dubai. We're plotting to bring Mong to the masses. Mong will compete with Bitcoin for market share. Okay, you understand that noobs see this, and some of them may actually believe it. And I mean, I don't know. It can't be good for the space. But if you're out there and you're trading meme coins, go for it. Like, go for it. Have fun. As long as you know what you're getting yourself into. As long as it's not like, you know, it's a casino. It's exactly that. It's just a casino. Alex, I know you say that he can't be serious about Mong, but I'm going to show you that he actually is quite serious about Mong. I also thought, look, he can't be serious, but you tell me, if you weren't serious about your shitcoin, would you tattoo? I just want to show you something. Like, this is serious shit. Well, I mean, he's tweeted so much in the last couple of hours, but the guy literally tattooed the word Mong here above his ears. I don't know if I can find the tweet. Researchers, if you could just quickly send me the tweet. Send me the tweet. Send me the BitBoy, the BitLord tweet, where you can see that he's tattooed Mong onto his head. Let's see if we can quickly find it. I'm sure the researchers will send it to me. I'll drop it for me in the group. Okay. All right, cool. Let's talk about Pulse, because another big thing that happened. It's not a fake tattoo. It's a real tattoo. It's a real tattoo. Trust me. I've seen fake tattoos. That's not a fake tattoo. Let's talk about Pulse, because I think one of the biggest things that happened this weekend, like it or not, like him or not, don't care whether you like him or hate him, but one of the biggest things that happened this weekend was the launch of PulseChain. The mainnet actually went live, and it was, the researchers have actually sent it to me. So let me quickly just show you the tweet. I mean, you can say that this is garbage and you can say this is nothing, but I mean, if it's garbage and nothing, that's a real tweet. So people lost their minds. Anyway, going back to it. So PulseChain launched this weekend, massive launch, absolutely successful. Can't tell you how successful I think this launch is. I think that all the haters, when it comes to 𝗷𝗫𝗄𝗧, I think that all the haters have to really now swallow their words. And I'll actually show you some of the haters that have actually been are actually forced to swallow their words. But the mainnet is live. The only thing that's not yet live is the bridge between ETH and PulseChain. So right now, PulseChain is working. The transactions are amazing. And if you look at the transactions this weekend, I'll try and refresh this, even though the site hasn't really been working so well. You can see there was a spike in transactions. And actually, they had more transactions than ETH over the weekend, okay, which is ridiculous, I mean, in terms of size. Now, the only thing that's not really working is the bridge between ETH and PulseChain is not actually working. So why is that such a big point? Because you need a bridge to bridge liquidity into PulseChain. Because right now, without being able to bridge liquidity into PulseChain, it's very difficult to have value to trade on the chain. But as soon as the bridge is open, then all of a sudden you're going to be able to trade all the value on the chain. And so the next step is to get the bridge between ETH and PulseChain open. PulseChain is working though. It's working very, very, very fast. There were some complaints around gas fees around PulseChain, but I think just wait. Let's just wait and wait for things to settle down. Now, the haters are going to say, hey, look at the price of Hex, where the price of Hex dumped. But that's not actually true, because the price of Hex dumped because people took the ERC20 Hex and sacrificed it for Pulse Hex. So you have to take out of ETH, sacrifice and transfer it into ETH Hex. So Richard said, look, the bridge was not going to be open yesterday because it was Mother's Day. He might actually open it pretty soon today. People are expecting it to come today. But then even the haters are coming out now with different takes. And I mean, one is Eric was actually saying, look, here's a non-trolling PulseChain take. It's stupid as hell, but it's not a rug. Okay, we know for sure it's not a rug. He thinks it's stupid as hell. It's unapologetically one of the most enthusiastic DeFi communities in crypto, right? And that's what you need to drive a community. You need a community. 200 projects built on it without any grants, which is more than most projects have got. At the end of the day, it's an EVM chain like any other one, but built with a strong community of supporters, which is really all you need. It raised a gross amount of money and delivered a product that is technically equivalent to what you can buy on Fiverr for $50 to $100. I don't think that's right. Yes, it's a proof of stake chain with 90% plus stake controlled by one guy. So he carries on bashing it. But ultimately, I think that 𝗷𝗚𝗘𝗧𝗏 pulled off an absolute feature. All right, so I mean, that's PulseChain. We don't have much more time because I'm going to be on DCA, but I do want to talk more about the bubble. So the other one that went up is Litecoin. Have to pay attention to Litecoin. I'll show you in a second why I think it's so important that we pay attention to Litecoin. I'm not a big Litecoin fan. I just don't see the reason for Litecoin to exist. I just don't see why Litecoin has to exist. But Litecoin is a fork of Bitcoin. So it's basically similar to Bitcoin. The only difference between Litecoin and Bitcoin is that Litecoin approves blocks every 2.5 minutes and Bitcoin approves blocks every 10 minutes. And so Litecoin theoretically is 4 times faster than Bitcoin with the same kind of consensus algorithm, right? Now, remember that the biggest event for Bitcoin is the halving, which is coming up now. And we want to know how Bitcoin is going to perform relative to the halving. The Litecoin halving is actually coming up way before the Bitcoin halving, because remember, the blocks mine quicker, right? So the Litecoin halving is in 81 days, whereas the Bitcoin halving is in 303 days. So less than a year. And the Litecoin halving is in 81 days. So we're now watching the performance of Litecoin. We need to see what happens to the performance of Litecoin. Since the beginning of the year, you've got Litecoin up about 35%. That's cool, but I think Bitcoin has actually done better. So let's keep watching Litecoin. And then that could give us a clue as to where Bitcoin's going. All right, what else is there? DeSantis officially bans CBDCs here in Florida. So great move by DeSantis. Very excited about that. We did speak about Yellen earlier. Bitcoin holders continuing to grow. 200,000 altcoiners in the last 18 months. People are continuing to accumulate. I am watching OpenX. I know you guys don't, Suzu and Carl aren't the most famous people in the world or the most popular people in the world, but I am a bag holder and I am watching the volume in the exchange, and it's low, but it is on the uptake. So, it's week 7, $11.5 million per day. It started off with nothing. People started laughing. So careful. Don't take your eye off this one. Well, at the same time, I see that Polkadot parachain auctions. No one's interested in Polkadot anymore, which is, quite sad. Quite an ambitious project. Let's see. Anything else in the research group that is breaking? Is there any other breaking news right now that we need to cover? Nothing that is moving the markets. Let's quickly look at Banter Bubbles. Remember, just do your bit, go to Banter Bubbles, and use the bubbles to tell us what you think is happening in the market, because that way, as a community, we can all share almost alpha that other people don't have. Now, it's new. It's 3 days old, as you know, but we're developing it every single day. And the more you guys go and add value, the better it's going to be. You use your Twitter profile to log in, so it's completely logged onto Twitter, so we can help you get tweets. The other thing is, do not spam the chats. If you spam the chats, you get banned, and if you get banned, you're banned for life. That's it. There's no appeal process. It's not like Twitter where you can send customer care. Basically, you're out. You're banned for life. So banned for life. Someone says, I hate 𝗷𝗚𝗃. I actually don't. I think I'm one of his big supporters, actually. I'm a big 𝗷𝗚𝗃 supporter. So, and I always have been. So not sure why you would say that. ByBit competition, how am I doing? I'm $10 up on my SUI position, if that makes any difference. I am coming 41st. I'm actually not going to fade this pump, but I don't know how much margin I've got here. This is a problem. I've got to just check that my margin doesn't get destroyed here, because I actually want to buy more, but I'm scared because I don't want to get destroyed with my margin. That's the problem. I don't have a lot of margin in this account, but let me go. I mean, you live once. Competition ends in 2 weeks. I've got to start winning. So there we go. I'm a little bit more in. All right. I will see you guys again tomorrow. Now remember, I'm on DCA on Scott Gnelker's channel in a couple of minutes. Also, remember that later on today, I'm on the 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵 podcast. So 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵 podcast today. Tomorrow, I'm on the 𝗕𝗔𝗵𝗵𝗵 podcast, and I'm actually going out for dinner with Leia. She's been promising me dinner for months and years, and here we are. We're actually doing it. Listen, love you guys madly. I will see you guys again tomorrow. Follow me on Twitter because that's when I'm going to be doing the updates from the conference here at Bitcoin Miami. Until I see you again, which is in about 6 minutes on Gnelker's channel. Mad love, my guys, and trade well, my friends.